Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you for doing video. It's so much better to see you.
It's way better.
Oh my God, it's so much
How
better.
are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so happy. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. This will be fun.
Oh my God, it's already ridiculously
Little girl
fun.
chat.
It's already ridiculously fun. Oh my God, you're welcome, world.
The madness has started.
Well, we can chat after. Let's dive into the questions and just kind of go for it. Kind of sound cool?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So Laura Wagner,
Melanie Curtis.
AKA LDub, I love it.
LDub.
So I do want to hear, actually, this is legit for me as well. Like, I want to learn more about what you do. So first, let's tell us about your job, like what you actually do and work for IBA. Like, I don't really get it. So I'm guessing other people maybe don't either. So tell us more about that.
Definitely. So the IBA is 3 people. And it was started as a way to train instructors. Like train their instructors through the IBA set standards of safety and training protocol. And then kind of Axel Zoman, started doing also competitions and building the sports side. And then I moved myself to Austin almost 2 years ago, knowing that there are more opportunities here. And so I was working with Axel, and he kind of started, and I was like, hey, Axel, I want to be a part of this. Skydiving's in my family, competitions in my family, all that. So my job, the title is competition and communication coordinator, which is a little bit of a mouthful, but basically what I do is anything sport promotion related.
Okay. For tunnel flying, for the IBA stuff.
Yeah, for all indoor.
Like people, basically, it's not just instructors, like people can actually learn and progress along as a...
It's a good mix, because it's like we set forth, like a progression of how to, flying from belly all the way to dynamic pro. And then from there we say, then we have rules of competition with those set skills, VFS. So then we go around to tunnels and host competitions there.
Right.
With their programs, all that stuff. So really from start to finish, from like the very, very first beginner, even if they're not ready to compete, they at least have the tools to watch our videos and learn. So then, so I do communication pieces too. So newsletters and talking to people and doing interviews and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, cause it's like, obviously I've been seeing what you've been posting and stuff like that, but I haven't been to any of the competitions. Like, is it all across the board? Like, do you get people at belly flying levels all the way to the dynamic pro? Like, how much is what does the involvement actually look like? What are you seeing in that regard?
Yeah, we have, at the last competition, the one we did in Houston, we had 112 participants.
Awesome.
And we had 14 two-way belly teams.
That's so cool.
Fly with more than one other person in the tunnel.
Oh my God, I love that.
And then we had, then we had 11 dynamic two-way open teams who are doing battle format, just zooming around the tunnel.
Yeah, I know. I can't do that. I can't do that yet. I'm like,
you gotta basically work in a tunnel.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, every time I see those videos, I'm like, oh my God, they're seriously badass. It's mad respect. Like whenever I see skill at that level, I'm like, wow. Cause you know how much it takes to actually get that good. It's really awesome. But I love that there is a spot for new people. Cause I'm doing these interviews, like a big part of why I want to do them is to help younger jumpers know what's available, learn, you meet people like yourself and stuff like that. So when I hear that, I'm like, oh, awesome. I mean, I feel like I wonder if the whole player coach situation.
When we're working with Kurt Gable of the NSL, we're working with him because he does his cloud leagues, which is awesome. He has all his player coach teams up to open teams. So we're working to integrate his cloud league with IBA meets because we just want to make it accessible. There's the FAI and the World Cups, but and then they only allow a certain number of teams to go per country. Whereas this is we travel around the country, so we make it easy for people to go. We can't go to the one in Houston. Well, we can go to the one in Seattle because I live in Portland. So
yeah. Well, I'll share the link. I'll totally put the link on the video down here. Do my edit.
Double finger click.
Yes. I don't know if you'll be able to click it. I don't think I have that technological advancement just yet.
That's okay.
We're inching forward. I'm an example of taking big goals and making them bite-sized pieces.
You're not sending this out on DVDs, are you?
No. YouTube's the only place you can get it. I'm not even posting it on Facebook. Okay. So that's cool. I mean, I feel like there's so much more we could talk about with regards to just that alone, but even just the awareness that young skydivers can participate in that stuff, like that tunnel competition. Like, I think people hear the word competition and they're like immediately scared away. Yeah. And so like, gosh, at least for me, I remember when I was younger, participating in the comps, not caring like about sucking, and just knowing that participating alone was an access to making new friends, obviously learning, having a fucking ton of fun. Like, it's so cool that the competition thing is really just a door that's open to a different kind of learning and a different subset of our community, which I think is really cool.
Just to get people together, get them organized, and then you can think like, ooh, out of this, I might get a prize, and I'll definitely get pictures of myself.
Yeah, well, and get friends. It's almost impossible to leave an event like that. Yeah, without like making at least a friend or two. You know, having at least a funny memory or two. Totally. I would hope. I would certainly encourage that as a coach, that would be maybe a goal.
Don't sit in the corner by yourself. Take the earplugs out.
Oh my God. I've totally done tunnel time where I've accidentally forgot my earplugs. It is like the worst. Yeah. Tip. That's actually my next question is, what advice or tips would you have to young skydivers or people just wanting to fly in the tunnel? Like, what advice would you give them to sort of get into it?
Win the lottery.
Win the lottery.
No, really build a community, because, you know, then as soon as you're flying with other people, you're jumping with other people, you're going to have that motivation. You're going to have somebody that's going to really hold you, not just hold you accountable, like hold you accountable to being fun, to going out, to like going outside your comfort zone. Yeah, that's awesome. Four-way rather than just doing two-way. You know, tunnel's way more fun when you're doing it with your friends. Definitely. So yeah, just like you're saying, make those connections. And it's amazing how, you know, friendly everybody is. And and like find that coach that's like really supportive of you and teaching you new things. I love that. Yeah. Like community, like building community, like that's your piece of advice. It's awesome. It's awesome that you say that, because it doesn't have to be like this massive community. Like your community can start as a couple of friends, or a coach that then connects you to other people and other stuff. That's awesome. Love it. And that'll get you so much further than just sitting there racing to be the best. Yeah. That's like one thing that drives me nuts is the people that are just, I see them, you know, they start skydiving, flying, and then 2 years later they're gone because they like got to a pretty high level really quickly. And then they're like, okay, check, done. I'm like, and maybe I became friends with that person. Now I'm like, we were friends. You're gone now. Like, it's a different mindset, right? The people who are engaged in the sport or connect to the sport and its value over a long term. Yeah. And it's funny. You're like perfectly segueing to my questions, by the way, in your answers. We're like clearly intuitively bonded here. So organic. Because the next thing I wanted to ask you about is the fact that you are a skydiver. And obviously I know your story that it's a long one in the sport. And so if you can give us like the sort of short version of your involvement and story in skydiving so people can understand who you are a little bit more. And I like actually connect to the fact that long-term involvement is excellent. That's my personal opinion. Go ahead. I was just at the Skydiving Hall of Fame thing like a couple weeks ago in Eloy. I didn't know what was going on. I just happened to be there for a wedding. Cool. And it was so cool to see all these old timers and talk to them about my family. But yeah, my parents met skydiving. And then they continued to skydive when I was a kid. So I spent a bunch of time in the drop zone, which you don't see that anymore. You don't see kids running around the drop zone. Not as much. Yeah. Yeah. And then like day after I turned 16, beautiful weather day in Rayford, North Carolina, pre-tunnel. 16 years old. I love that. You have me beat, girl. Yeah, you too, right? I was 18. Yeah. I almost wish I'd waited till after college so I could have focused on school. But I wouldn't give up I went to school in Arizona so I could go jump at the drop zone and be in that. And I wouldn't give that up for the world. Mm-hmm. So I'd had like a weird time with skydiving because I've never worked in it full time. Mm-hmm. Just having been in it already my whole life, I was like, wanted to always keep a separation and have my other life, you know? Yeah.
Which is cool, because a lot of people, when they get really into skydiving, obviously go the bell curve of like, I love skydiving. Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. I'm going to train. And then, oh my God, I'm going to work in the sport and kill it. And I'm going to live the dream. And I'm going to travel. This is obviously what I did. And then you have the other side of the bell curve where you're like, okay, oh, living the dream is so good. Oh my God, I'm getting tired. Okay. Maybe I'm not having as much fun because I'm working so hard. And then you step back and, you get down to the other side where you're like where I'm at personally in my story is I'm on the other side of the bell curve, re-engaging the sport. And as a fun jumper, obviously as a coach still always, but because I love that too. But anyway, I share that because it's an interesting, it's a different thing than what you're saying you did. You decided to keep the separation.
Yeah. Knowing it would be a lifelong thing, I think, because seeing it with more so my dad, being a lifelong thing for him, I was like, I mean, he did it full time as a Golden Knight for a long time, but
yeah,
just knowing myself and knowing that I need multiple engaging activities. So it's been good, and I've gone through times where I jump a lot and I've gone through times where I don't jump so much, depending on what I've lived and what I've been up to. But it's, it doesn't change anything. Like I still talk to my same homies, and go and jump, and it's always, coming home.
Yeah, it's cool. It sounds like you have a more balanced approach to it, the concept of balance in general is always, I think, useful to touch on.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does the balance look? I feel like it tends to always balance out whether you do, and whether you involve yourself in skydiving the way that you're describing, where you're looking at it as a long-term thing and the balance is coming in this sort of year to year type of approach, or if you're looking at it sort of more from like my version of a story of balance, where it's like mega intensity, huge break.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause it's still balanced theoretically, you know what I mean? Even though there's an intense period or a non-intense period where it's like, just depend. The reason I speak to this is not to talk about, oh, we're so cool because you did it this way and I did it this way. It's more to say, however people are called to approach it is cool. And that balance typically is going to help people sustain themselves in the short, long term.
Yeah. Balance will come in some form or another.
Right.
Everything will be okay.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me one of your favorite achievements in skydiving. Or tunnel flying, I guess. It's
not getting hurt, honestly. And that's kind of probably a weird answer. I feel like people, knock on some stuff.
Yeah, knock on some stuff. But tell me more about that.
I feel like just, you making wise decisions, not downsizing too quickly, not putting myself on jumps I didn't feel comfortable with. When I'm a coach or an organizer, talking to my students, like, this is jump run, this is how we break off. I don't know, just being kind of cautious, knowing that there's no need to rush.
Yeah. Knowing that our sport is unforgiving when we get too close to the boundaries of its safety. Yeah. Being an example of safety, I raise the roof to that. Obviously, I'm very committed to that in my career as well. It's really cool because I really think it's a thing. It's important, I think, to make sure safety is cool. Because skydiving is fun regardless. It's going to be fun, even if you're doing it within the bounds of safety. So it's like, I always encourage people to really be mindful of that, and be mindful if they find themselves like too excited and racing forward, that like, check yourself before you wreck yourself, hangover type shit.
I love the person that stands up and is like, I don't feel comfortable with this jump. I'm like, thank you so much.
I know.
Like, let's go do a two-way then. I just want to you because you know what's up. The rest of them are probably thinking it, but didn't want to say it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I think that's a huge deal because the social pressure in skydiving, I think, can feel really, really scary to people when they're new. So if we're talking about it like, if this is, 4 new jumpers and hopefully they're watching this and going, oh, okay, actually it is cool to be like that. Like, it's funny. As an organizer, I sometimes still struggle with the whole, like, not really struggle. That's actually not true. But like, I was at Chicks Rock recently and the winds were typical in the desert afternoon heat. Dust devils are starting to come up, and I had some sub 100 jump people, and it was right at that part of the day where it's like, probably okay, but maybe not. And so it's like the conservative answer to take what, like a 9-way and say, look, I'm going to pull us off. Like that's making a decision for X number of people, you know, having to take that role of deciding for them what I deem safe. Obviously people can then make their own decision and go if they want to, but anyway, I respect that is all I'm saying.
When you're responsible for more people, then it's like, whoo, not just anymore. That's a big role. Definitely.
Have you been liking organizing? Because you've been doing more and more coaching and organizing and traveling, right?
Yeah, a good amount. And like, again, I go through fluctuations and waves. But man, I love it. Like my favorite thing is to jump with like someone with 30 jumps.
Oh, me too.
Like I can go to a boogie and do like a cool angle jump and that's fun. But then like as an organizer, because normally I wouldn't just, that wouldn't be a fun jump is pulling someone with 30 jumps.
I think young jumpers think that the pros, sorry, go ahead.
The excitement of jumping with new people rather than people with 500 jumps that are like, I want to do this and this, and then are upset with their performance. And I love just like the very raw happiness from just getting out of an airplane. Like you can't get over that, and that starts getting boring for you, then you got to reevaluate what you're doing.
I couldn't agree more. I genuinely couldn't agree more. And
maybe because I sat on the ground from age 0 to 16, like, it's like ingrained in me to like always want it.
Oh gosh, I love it. The thing that I was going to say is I think a lot of young jumpers, I could be wrong, but this is in my experience, I feel like I've seen this across the board, is that mostly, not everyone, but the majority of young jumpers think that the pros or whoever's there coaching or organizing or whoever has tons more jumps than they do won't want to jump with them. Mm-hmm. Like that it won't be fun for you or me to jump with them.
100%.
I want to dispel that out the fucking ass because that is just not the case. Mm-hmm. It is literally my favorite kind of skydiving.
Yeah.
Still to this day. And I've done a lot of it. Tons of it. So anyway, I'm just, the gravity of that is like awesome. Mm-hmm. But, okay. So what are your goals going forward? Like your goals in skydiving?
My goals in skydiving? All kinds of one, just kind of keep going. Women's record is next month. So that's like the super short term one, or I guess this month it's November now.
Cool.
It'll be my third.
Oh, love it.
But I haven't actually done a world record vertical. The next one will be, I think, 2018. So that would be cool.
Nice.
I need to compete at nationals one of these years. I still have never competed at nationals.
Really? Oh my God, that surprises me. I didn't know that.
Fun fact. I would like to do freestyle. Just go try it out. It would be a cool goal because I feel kind of like stagnant, and I struggle also with, I love living here in Austin, Texas, but my favorite drop zone in Texas is 3 hours away.
Oh, okay. Which one is that?
Houston.
Cool.
The two that are closer to Austin are just, it's just hard to get on an airplane. It takes a long time to get your jumps in for the day. So that's the struggle.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to hear that someone like you, who's been in the sport a long time, who has a lot of experience, still has goals.
So many.
Still has goals. Like, what would you say to, again, new jumpers or young people, as they set their own goals and they aim to grow in the sport? What would you say to them? What's a nugget?
Like, what would make you happiest? Like, not what you like think the right progression is, but what your own progression is. Do you want to be a super? Like, would that make you happy, going out and just doing hop and pops and like trying to fly canopy really, really well?
Right.
Like, what is it that excites you the most, and go after that? Like, to me, what excites me the most is just going out and having fun, not the pressure of competition and training, not the pressure of like being an instructor and needing to be there every single weekend and that's my job.
Yep.
So
yeah, I can really relate to that. I had the major competition mind because I got really into, I loved the measurable nature of four-way FS. So like the first part of my career was very much rooted in that, because I was like, yes, you have these things that you can measurably get better at. Like that totally fired me up. And I would like the competition part. I was like, fuck yeah, peak performance. Like that really jazzed me. And then it's interesting because I definitely have changed. I've said this to people many times, like in recent years, like that my competitive edge has faded, that my competitive edge is not there anymore in the sense of skydiving, where I'm like, because I've competed in so much stuff that I'm like, yeah, I like it, but I like so much, I'm so much more where you are now, and that it's more for me back to fun. You know, not that competition isn't fun, it's just a more intense, focused, intentional goal situation. Whereas I contest actually having fun is the same. Because I know some people are like, oh, they get so stressed out, and that's normal, right?
Yeah.
You know, like it's normal that for the people that you were mentioning earlier, like they have maybe 500 jumps or something like that, and they have these goals and they're really find themselves connected to and attached to the outcome of their performance. And it makes sense. Like it's easy to validate. Like we love skydiving. Of course, if you have a goal, you would want to do well. So I think reminding people that like maybe setting fun up as the number one goal actually makes the achievement and the performance piece that much more achievable and likely more efficient, which seems counterintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of a competition, especially if you win, like maybe your fun comes there, and that's awesome. Something you really worked hard for, you earned that. And maybe like I'm just in it for like the low hanging fruit of like, I'll just make sure every jump is fun rather than trying to train. But yeah, I think no matter what, success only comes out of fun. I actually have that as like a sign on my desk somewhere, I think.
Yeah, fun and excellence are not mutually exclusive is something I totally believe in. But not only that are they not mutually exclusive, I actually truly contest in my experience coaching teams and player coaching and stuff that the teams that had the most fun did the best, actually performed the best. So yeah. And I'm with you on the whole, like sometimes the longer term, harder road yields sort of more fulfilling or deeply meaningful results because of the arduousness of the path. So yeah, there's something to consider there, I think, for sure, for people who are setting goals and deciding what kind of things that they want out of their skydiving career, out of their lives, you know, because this stuff is applicable to life too. Like I know you've done a lot of growth work. Like what would you say in terms of like life growth stuff? What's something you would recommend to people?
Life growth stuff, like
just anything that you've done that made a positive impact on your growth as a person.
You know what? I actually did the landmark forum. That was that was a bit of a profound experience. I'd like to go back and do the advanced course, but it's just really intense because it's 3 days of nonstop work with yourself and the people around you, and kind of, you know, you're forced to make connections to these strangers and sit with a new stranger every couple hours and go through all these exercises. And so that kind of like opened my eyes to some things I was fearful of, and some ways that I was communicating or not communicating. And then I did it right after, actually, I went through yoga teacher training.
Cool.
Which also was a little bit like an extended landmark experience as well.
Awesome. I've not done that. I have done landmark. I've done the entire landmark curriculum, which I actually highly recommend as well.
It's great.
It's super great. SCLP, the third level, was amazing for sure. The advanced course too. But yeah,
the last one is,
it's because it's the longer term thing. To go back to what we were just talking about, the reason the forum is that shorter thing, advanced course is another shorter thing, but more stuff. And the SCLP, the self-expression and like leadership course, is over months. That's why it's like it's a bigger commitment. So it's like you get a little bit of a different result as a result. But anyway, I just wanted to echo that I would agree with you on that recommendation for sure.
That makes sense. The people I know that have really gone through the landmark course in its entirety are like the people that I look up to, because they have this sense of like really knowing themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not all of them, it's just the ones that I've tend to attract or engage with. But I'm like, man, you are solid. You're just a solid person.
Well, it's a thing, I think. I think it's I've been thinking about this
the time.
I'm sorry?
If you don't spend the time doing that and kind of learning all that about yourself and the way that you are, you're not going to know. You're not going to know.
Yeah.
Person.
Absolutely. I think it takes a commitment to doing that too. Like I tend to like people who are into growth, just because I feel like the conversations are deeper and more transformative. Like I just personally really like that. It's not to say that everyone needs to like that. I just like that. Yeah. So I tend to, like you, maybe be drawn to more growth-minded people. Like that's sort of my tribe. Like I've been sort of on this tribe kick of like, like, cause I moved and like, I'm like, who's my, like, where are my peeps? You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, so, you know.
Totally.
But, gosh, so what else? What else do you want to share with peeps? Like, what have I not asked you about?
I think one other thing I wanted to kind of touch on is, you know, we're talking about like, what should your goals be and be in it for the fun and stuff, but really like people have to be in it for themselves. So the goal is to like, maybe skydiving isn't what like shows you who you are, but as you go through it and you meet the people in the community and you start finding the people in the community that you like, do you like them because they're like these sky gods? Do you like them because they reflect well on you and they push you and challenge you, and you know they're your friends because they're showing you like how to be a better person? But you got to do it for you. Like, you can't start skydiving because you think it's a cool thing to do, because you saw some GoPro video, because you want to be on some record, but you got to do it like 100% for you, you know.
Yeah.
and I you can pretty quickly tell if people aren't doing it for them. Like, sometimes it seems like skydiving is like what they used to say, like, you go to college to get your Mrs. degree. Sometimes I feel like skydiving.
Oh,
like,
yeah, gotcha. Really?
Yeah. Like, I've seen so many girls start skydiving, meet a skydiver, get married.
Yep.
Adios.
It's funny, the pearl of wisdom I always said with regards to that is that, like, if you keep your time in skydiving focused on skydiving, you'll be in the sport a long time. Which sort of echoes what you mean. Like, if you're doing it for the skydiving and you genuinely are committed and connected to that act and that community and just the nature, like the flying, oh my God, like, I still, when I climb out of an aircraft in flight and I'm on the outside, the camera step, I'm still like, this is the coolest shit ever.
And we're just doing it over and over.
I know. It's
then
like,
you see someone leave from like the lead plane and you're like, ah.
It's crazy. Like, literally, it is the coolest shit. It's so cool. I mean, yeah, I can't relate to people who get into skydiving for the cool factor, even though it does bring with it the cool factor. Like, you know, talking to non-skydivers and being like, oh, I skydive, and how that can sometimes steal the conversation. I'm sure many people have experienced that. And that's kind of fun at first, but it gets old. At least it did for me. I was like, oh God, I don't want to be the person who's like constantly feeling like they're stealing the attention of other people because skydiving's so cool. But it's just so cool. I love it so much. I'm not really making any point here other than to love it.
I'm glad you're stoked on it again.
Oh, I know. But it's funny. Like, I'm stoked I also took a break as well, because that's something, if we talk about life experience and growth, is that I had never taken a break ever. In 20 years of skydiving. I had never actually taken time down, other than like one time I had surgery and I had to be down for 5 weeks. Like, that is not really significant in my sort of definition of a break. Like, talking to Talbert and stuff, like, he's taken multiple breaks and for more years than I took. But for me, it was like, cool, I'm having a new experience with skydiving by not skydiving, which was actually really useful for me. So I echo and encourage people to follow their nose and what calls to them, whether it's goal setting, whether it's taking a break, whether it's not going on a particular single skydive, whatever. It's like really cultivating that trust in ourselves and our decision-making inside the sport and out.
Yeah. And like, no judgment, you know, as long as you're pure to whatever it is that's making you happy in the sport, whether it is like dating that skydiver, like, as long as it's keeping you on your goal and didn't let you like detract away from like why you started what you're doing, then, you know,
totally 100%.
First, fun second.
What's first? Wait, say that again. I was talking over
Yourself.
You. Yourself. Got it.
Fun, safety, party.
Safety is not third. I know.
It rhymes, kind of. Isn't that why we say it?
That's the joke, safety third. No. Terrible. I won't have that joke.
You can't edit this interview. You told me
I'm not editing this interview. People get the raw shit with this one. Because otherwise I'll be editing my whole life. Fuck that.
Yes.
I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be doing more cool stuff with people like you.
Is it snowing in Vermont?
I don't live in Vermont anymore. I live in upstate New York. I live near my sister. Yeah, Vermont was super awesome, but totally too lonely. Like nobody lives there. Mm-mm. It's like this stunning, beautiful nature. Like highly recommend and love Vermont. But yeah, if you're social in any capacity, you really can't live there. So I moved to be near my sister. I live now in upstate New York. I'm closer to New York City, which I love, and closer to the airport. It's just better. So yeah, life's evolving. It's good.
That's really good.
Yeah. So what else do you got? Because I don't really have much else because that was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't really prepare.
Yeah, you don't. No, I'm glad. No prep for these. It's organic.
Perfect.
Well, where can people find you next? If you're, are you coaching or have anything on your calendar?
Not too much. Eloy for the women's record. I'll be in Mexico for New Year's. I'm super stoked. I've never jumped in. I'm just going as a participant in this boogie. That'll be cool.
Oh, I love it. See, that's so great. Again, the example of balance. Mm-hmm. Not all work. Some play, some work.
Jumping on the beach, drinking pina coladas. Just kind of a vacation. So we just bought this house that I'm in right now. It's pretty great.
Excellent.
And then with work, I've been kind of just focused on like a little bit of that stuff rather than what boogie next. I'll probably be at CIS in January.
Cool. Awesome. Well, girl, thank you so much.
Any tunnel comp, I'll be there.
Yes, obviously. And honestly, thank you so much. I really just appreciate your time and the fact that you're willing to share your experiences and stories as value for young people that are coming up in the sport. Like that's really, really cool.
Anytime. I love it.
I love you.
I love you too. I hope I see you somewhere.
Oh, you will. It'll happen.